With the NBA trade deadline less than 10 days away, there's no real target for the Dallas Mavericks. That's been made clear to the public, other than the fact that we do know that Nico Harrison is looking for a defensive wing to add to this roster to obviously fill in some of the holes, fix some of the deficits that we have within this team. But over the last several months, another player has been loosely tied to the Mavericks, and that has been Jimmy Butler. And we've all seen the crazy saga of his whole issue and ordeal in Miami. But according to the Miami Herald, who dropped an article earlier today, is detailing how the Dallas Mavericks could benefit from trading away Luka Doncic for Jimmy Butler. So in this video, we're going to take a look at how delusional and stupid this article absolutely is. We'll both get a good laugh from it, as well as we do have an injury update regarding Dante Exum as well as Najee Marshall. But how's it going, everybody? My name is Marcel Martin. This is Mavs Digest, bringing you the latest news on everything Mavericks related. And before we get started with today's video, our last video only got 183 likes. I understand you may not like me, but if you like the Dallas Mavericks, make sure you drop a like on this video. Let's try to get to at least 300 likes. I think we can definitely do it. But like I said in the intro, the Dallas Mavericks have been loosely linked to Jimmy Butler over the last several months. Last year, early in this season, we did find out that Jimmy Butler was interested in leaving from Miami. And although there was a weird debacle between his agent and Shams going back and forth whether it's true Jimmy wants to be traded versus you're a liar, it's not true. And at this point, we did find out that Jimmy's agent did in fact lie, and Shams' reporting was 100% solid. And it was also reported that Jimmy Butler did list the Dallas Mavericks as a potential landing destination if he were to get traded. Now, obviously, there is absolutely no way that we trade for Jimmy Butler unless we trade for a key player like a Kyrie, a Klay Thompson, or a Luka Dončić, which obviously wouldn't happen. I know there's probably going to be some people in the comment section that would say, yeah, I would trade Klay for Jimmy Butler. I'm sorry. I'd much rather have the four-time NBA champion at age 35 instead of the 35-year-old prima donna who did get suspended. If we take a look at this report just the other day, Shams tweeted out, the Miami Heat are suspending Jimmy Butler indefinitely, sources tell ESPN. Now, this obviously isn't new. Jimmy Butler has been suspended several times this season for various different reasons, and he always goes to social media and he always has to put some petty little post about it. But the most recent suspension has come from the fact that the Miami Heat, during a practice, tried to have a talk with Jimmy Butler and say, hey, we're going to have you come off the bench and we're going to have Highsmith start over you. And obviously, Jimmy Butler did not like that. He stormed out of the practice, and the Miami Heat were like, we're done with you. We're absolutely done. Going to wipe our hands with it. You are suspended indefinitely, and I'm pretty sure there will be a timetable for his return, but as of right now, at the time of recording, he is suspended indefinitely. So yes, a prima donna who doesn't want to come off the bench, who obviously is trying to force his way out of another destination, is definitely the type of player that the Dallas Mavericks should just swing for the fences for. Give everything to a 35-year-old who has made the finals twice. Jimmy Butler, also known as Playoff Butler, Jimmy Buckets. We all know that he is a playoff riser. He's shown it time and time again throughout his entire career. They come to playoffs, he is that guy. However, at age 35, he wants $100 million. He wants to go to either Phoenix. He wants to go to Dallas, was named one of them, but it seems like Phoenix is the more appropriate destination for someone like Jimmy Butler if they were to trade Bradley Beal, but that's another whole situation. But why does this matter to the Dallas Mavericks? What does this have to do with Dallas? Well, like I said in the intro, the Miami Herald wanted to drop a very dumb article earlier today, saying the Miami Heat are positioning themselves to have over $80 million in cap space in 2026, when players like Luka Doncic could potentially become free agents. According to a source, the Heat also felt it should receive a carrot, like a draft pick, if it takes players whose contracts run through next season. Taking on non-All-Stars whose contracts run past 2025-26 has been a non-starter for Miami, which is positioned to have more than $80 million in cap space that summer. Several All-Stars, including Luka Doncic, are eligible to become free agents that summer, and it makes absolutely no reason why they would even mention Luka Doncic. So let me get the big camera, because I'm going to tell you right now, Miami is never getting Luka Doncic. This team would never trade Luka to the Miami Heat. Now, if Jimmy Butler was the same age as Luka Doncic, if they were both the same age, and Jimmy's like, I want Luka, give me Luka, or I want to get traded, there could be a realm of possibility where they try to team up. But even so, I would put more money on Nikola Jokic teaming up with Luka, either in Denver or in Dallas, before I would even imagine the Miami Heat pulling off a trade where they get Luka Doncic and we get 35-year-old Jimmy Butler who wants $100 million. That is absolutely not happening. And the cherry on top of this whole stupid article that just makes it even crazier is this report that also came out today. The Miami Heat have lowered their asking price for Jimmy Butler. They're willing to do more than they were when they are willing to do more than they were when this all started last month. The Heat are trying to get this done. So you're telling me that they've lowered their asking price for Jimmy Butler because they just want to get him out of here. They want him gone, be done with it, move on, and just try to rebuild this team in some form of fashion. And you want to mention Luka Doncic. Now, obviously, there's other players that fit that timeline of free agency, that it's not just Luka Doncic. I understand that there's other players that the Heat could try to get, other stars, all-stars, superstars, whatever. I find it very weird that Luka's name got thrown in there. And we've all seen over the last several years, as many other publications have tried to sow discord within the Mavericks locker room, highlighting how if Luka doesn't have a successful playoffs, he's going to want to leave Dallas. If the Dallas Mavericks fail to have a deep playoff run, Luka's going to get fed up and just leave. We just made the finals, and although this season doesn't look like it could be a repeat of last year, to be determined, we can't just call it a wash just yet. The Dallas Mavericks just made the finals, and this year, it's really just because of health. Guys are getting sick. Guys are getting hurt. That is no one's problem, except for maybe the trainers, but even then, you can't really blame our training staff either. The Dallas Mavericks are going to be just fine. Luka is not going to get upset and say, I want to go to Miami. Trade me so I can play with Bam Adebayo and Terry Rozier and anybody else on the Miami Heat. Absolutely not. I would much rather trade Dwight Powell before I trade Luka Doncic, and that says a lot. But if we do take a look here, that's not all. Another report came out today saying the Warriors are back in the mix for Jimmy Butler after the Heat reportedly lowered their asking price. So sure, there you go. Another team that is desperate to stay competitive, who have a generational talent in Steph Curry, but unfortunately did a very poor job of managing all their young players, are now like, hey, 35-year-old Jimmy, come over to Golden State. Come join Steph Curry. We can get it done. And if I was a betting man, which I'm not, I'd say that the Warriors have a pretty good chance of getting Jimmy Butler, especially since the asking price for him has dropped. But apparently, Golden State isn't the only team interested. This also came out today saying, I've heard that Philly quietly could be a suitor for Jimmy Butler. Theoretically, it would be a Jimmy for Paul George swap. I believe that Embiid is pushing for them to reacquire Jimmy. Another franchise that doesn't know what they're doing, that is in danger of missing the playoffs because of other players who can't play well or stay healthy. Sure, go out and get Jimmy. And I highly doubt Jimmy would be okay with going back to Philly after that whole fiasco with Ben Simmons, not wanting Jimmy there because he's taking the ball out of my hands, whatever. We all see where Ben Simmons is now. It is an absolute circus surrounding Jimmy Butler. I'm a little bit embarrassed the fact that the Mavericks as well as Luka Doncic are somehow being roped into all this, because even though we have our own set of problems, like I said, with injuries and illnesses, January has been a really rough month for the team as far as wins, losses, and health. I'd argue that we're in a much better position than the Miami Heat, where I'm not worried about my superstar giving up on the team, being upset, walking out of practice, and getting suspension after suspension after suspension. The Miami Heat, good luck with what they're doing with Jimmy Butler. I do think that getting him was a smart move because you got 2 NBA Finals appearances out of it. You got close 1 year. However, you got to know when to hold them and you got to know when to fold them. And right now for the Heat, it's folding time. And as Mavs fans, we ain't got nothing to do with us. And if we take a look right here, people want to Photoshop Luka Doncic in the Miami Heat jersey, and I don't like it. I think it's blasphemy. After every little back and forth we've had with Miami in 2006 and in 2011, no. Complete and utter blasphemy. This should be burned, never to be seen again. But we also have this. Shout out to Dalton Trigg, who had to say this. Say it with me. The Mavs aren't trading for Jimmy Butler because Jimmy Butler makes too much money. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Dalton Trigg, I couldn't have said it better myself. Jimmy wants too much. We would have to give too much. It would never happen. It probably wouldn't help out as much as you think it would. I'm totally fine with passing up on Jimmy maybe a few years ago, but that train has already taken off, gone from the station. I'm good on that. But we also do have an injury update before our game tomorrow. Shout out to Grant Afseth, who had this to say. Dallas Mavericks guard Dante Exum has been upgraded from out to doubtful before Wednesday's matchup against the New Orleans Pelicans, and Najee Marshall was upgraded to questionable. So that's good news. We finally get to see a glimpse of Dante not being out, but he is now doubtful, which most likely he's not going to play, but he is trending in that direction, especially since just the other day, Jason Kidd did say that Dante hasn't been cleared for practice yet. Maybe he is cleared now, and so slowly ramping him up with all these injuries, we need somebody back, right? It is also good to know that Najee Marshall has finally gotten rid of the Black Plague. He's finally looking good and is ready to come back to the floor with the rest of the guys. But let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Do you think that the Mavs should trade Luka Doncic for Jimmy Butler? Do you think that's how we get a championship in Dallas? Or do you think this is just stupid and not even worth talking about? Like me. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. We can have a conversation about it. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for making this far to the video. Make sure to check out our Twitter and Discord. Links in the description below. Consider becoming a channel member. We are doing a giveaway every single month on this channel. Only way to enter our giveaways is to become a channel member of any tier. But until next time, y'all take care. Drink water. Peace.